Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast today. I'm working on growing my YouTube channel at Alex Swire-Clark. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and like any and all videos that provide value to you. All of the podcasts can be found there, as well as lots of different video content on emotional intelligence and how you can apply it to improve your personal and professional relationships. Thanks for subscribing, and now on to the show. Conflict. It's a dreaded word for couples, employers, anyone in any kind of relationship. People just avoid it like the plague. Some don't. Wait a minute, Alex. Some do and some don't. That's right. Some people embrace conflict. Some people can't stand it. We're going to talk about that more in today's video.
Welcome to the Rapport Advantage Podcast, transforming the way leaders communicate. Here's your host, human behavior expert and professional speaker, Alex Swire-Clark.
Conflict can be defined as a serious disagreement between two people, often a prolonged one. And so a lot of people really just can't stand that, but it depends on your personality type. It depends on the culture in which you were raised. It depends on your religious beliefs. It depends on the influence of your mother and father. All those things play a part. We're going to focus on the DISC model of human behavior today and talk about which personality styles embrace conflict and which ones avoid it. If you want more information about high D's, I's, S's, and C's, which is the basis of that methodology, look in the description below and you'll see links to those videos appropriately. The first thing we have to realize is that the more task-oriented that you are, the more conflict doesn't bother you. You're more of a straight shooter. You just give the plain facts, just like Sergeant Joe Friday. Just the facts, ma'am. That's what you're all about. There's no sugarcoating the message. It just is what it is. The more people-oriented you are, the softer you deliver your message and the softer you like the message to be given to you. So if you imagine being a die, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a six-sided die, those task-oriented people have really hard edges, okay? They start one sentence, they finish one sentence, they go to the next thing. There is no gray, it's just very black and white. A die with rounded edges really is all about an I or an S. They like to have that softer message. They like to start with an email with, hey, how you doing? Did you see The Voice last night? Versus, hey, I need this on my desk by 5 p.m. So that's how they really differ in terms of their communication style. Task-oriented people, very matter of fact. Those people-oriented folks, a little bit of a softer delivery and receiving of that message. So let's break down these personality styles by percentage of the population. So you can kind of get a feel for who you're talking to and how many people this represents when you're in a conversation. D's represent 10% of the population, the smallest percentage of any of the personality styles. And that's a great thing because, as we know, D's are direct, they have to be in charge, they love challenges, and I really am thankful that only 10% of the population is D's, because if it weren't, let's say that 30% of the population were D's, gosh, we'd be on World War XVII by now, because every one of them has to be in charge, and so there are just too many people that want to be in charge at that point. I's represent 25 to 30% of the population. Those creative types, outside the box thinkers, love to have fun, very expressive and motivated by friends and family and making people laugh. S's are our highest percentage. They are at 30 to 35%. The largest percentage of the population are peacemakers. Isn't that something? Imagine what would happen if the D and the I were switched. Whoa. Okay, serious conflict across the world at that point. And then our C's are 20 to 25% of the population. Those critical thinkers, analytical types. And so they represent that last reserved task-oriented piece of the puzzle. So D's and C's, those task-oriented folks, if you do the math, 10 plus 25, make up 35% of the population. I's and S's make up 65% of the population. So the majority of the planet doesn't want conflict, doesn't like it, especially those S's. They can't stand conflict. So only 35% of the world really embraces that direct communication, embraces that conflict, which can be problematic in any relationship, again, if you don't know who you're speaking to and you don't know who you are yourself. So the majority of the population would rather eat worms and dirt-filled pudding than get involved into a situation where there's going to be conflict. But if we avoid conflict, we're going to miss out on lots of different things, meaningful conversations that can be life-changing. And those tough conversations that we have to have, for example, between two siblings of an aging parent. So when dealing with aging parents, there are a lot of factors that you have to bring in, task-oriented or people-oriented or whoever you are. Who's the closest living relative to that parent? Are they willing to take care of them? What are the finances like? Do we put them in a nursing home? Do we go for home care? All those things are very, very important. And if you don't like conflict, then you avoid giving your opinion when you might have a better interpretation of what that parent might want for their own life. Maybe they can't speak for themselves, and it's up to you to really persuade that other person that this is what mom wants, this is what she needs. She's told me this in the past. If you resist that conflict and you just say, okay, you just do whatever you want to, Bob, I'll go with it. We're missing out on an opportunity to serve our parent in a way that they would want to be served at a time that's really, really challenging for them. And when that decision's made and you haven't voiced your opinion, let's say it was something that you disagreed with vehemently, but you just said, I'm not going to cause a problem, that's going to eat away at you and eat away at you and create resentment between you and your sibling for years to come. And it may manifest itself a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 years later, 30 years later. And that conflict eats away with you. That conflict eats away at you and just really destroys that relationship. So that's why we shouldn't bury that conflict. But it's up to us to make sure that we are presenting our ideas, presenting our feelings, even if we are a reserved person, because that other person in the relationship needs to know what we're thinking, needs to know what we're feeling, so we can all get on the same page and make a better decision together. And the problem is, of course, that we don't always have this personality information. I mean, I kind of sort of know who I am, and I might know who my brother or sister is, kind of sort of. But until we really know, we can't really have these conversations and make these decisions together. So again, in the description below, go back and watch those DISC videos again if you want to really know yourself and those around you. If you want to know yourself like 100% of who you are, you can take one of our assessments. And again, those are in the description below as well. Those will give you a nice 6-page report that tells you who you are, how intense your particular emotions are on one side or the other. Are you really task-oriented? Are you really people-oriented? Are you more in the middle? Because remember, we're all a unique blend of all 4 of these styles. So check out assessment and really find out who you are inside.